Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a snow-capped mountain with acrylic paints. We'll be showing you step by step how to do it all the way through from drawing to finish. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to be man in chat for us during the live show, so let's get started. All right, so this is my reference image. I found it off of a royalty-free website, Bixby. And I think I'm going to make a few changes. I really want to focus in on the mountain a little bit more, so I think I'm going to make it, kind of crop it out a little bit to make the mountain more distinct, you know, take up more of the space in here. And I might turn it a little bit so we see more of the shadow side as well. I have another picture that shows the kind of other side of it, so we'll play with it a little bit. First thing I just want to do though is kind of figure out the general area that I want my mountain to be in, and I'm going to be using a 9 by 12 inch canvas gesso board. Well, it's not canvas really, it's just gesso board that's pre-gessoed and ready to paint on. And let me go over my palette really quick with you. I've got titanium white, Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Ultramarine Blue. This is light Ultramarine Blue. That's just Ultramarine Blue pre-mixed with white. Dioxazine Purple, Burnt Umber, and Burnt Sienna. I'm not sure we'll use all of these because I haven't pre-painted this, so we're going to kind of be working it out as we move along here. Today we've been on vacation, so we just got back and I got a cold, so yay, lucky me. It's all right, as long as we had a good time. Everybody was healthy and well for the trip, so that was the more important thing. All right, so I think I'm gonna kind of cut off this bottom half right here with my mountainside, just kind of coming in here. There'll be all kinds of greens, flowers and things right here, kind of in our foreground. And then there's a little mountain that kind of comes down here like that. And then our Matterhorn mountain is going to be all up in here, all up in this area right here and out. So we're going to kind of make it a little bit bigger. I might move it over just a little bit so it's kind of more on the third. So I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Welcome to our live show with followers that are watching with us today. Hope you guys all had a great Christmas with your families and everything. And
I know I
ready
did.
For New Year's? You know you did?
Yep.
Good.
It's kind of an odd Christmas, but
it was different being not at home. Spencer did not like it at all.
Not at home, not at families.
Yeah, not with families, exactly. All right, so I think that'll be good. I don't know why I drew out that mountain because we're just going to cover it up with the sky, but that's all right. We might go around it a little bit. Actually, our sky is fairly flat in this one. There's not any clouds or anything. It's just kind of a pure clear blue sky. So I think I'm just going to use ultramarine blue and a little bit of the phthalo blue to give it a little bit more of like a primary royal blue color. It's just a kind of right in between. The phthalo blue is green shade, at least, is more on the green side, and the ultramarine blue is more on the purple side. So when you mix them together, they make this really lovely kind of just neutral royal blue color, primary blue. So I'm just mixing that in with some white, and I'm gonna cover up my sky area here. And feel free to add clouds or whatever else you want to do with your sky. I'm gonna keep it fairly simple. We're going to make the focal point our mountain and flowers today. We'll just kind of streak it side to side so that if any streaks do show with our paint, we can make it look like we meant to do that. Maybe some wispy mountain winds or something coming off here, kind of blowing to the side. Like that. I'm just going to go right up to that mountain. We'll go ahead and paint around it. And if you don't want to paint around your mountain, just paint your whole sky blue and then come back in and draw your mountain over the top. That's normally how I would do it, but we won't have to wait for blow drying today, so we'll just paint around it. Okay, that's pretty good. Look at that, see if I got it even. It's hard to tell with the light, the way the light shines on it. Okay, there we go. Looks good. Okay, so let's make our mountain base color. We're going to make a black using, whoops, not purple. Oh, darn it. Did not mean to grab that. I meant to grab the...
Are you sure you're a professional?
I don't feel like one today.
Say. Ooh, we got heat noises now.
Yeah. Just a fan. Alright, so I've mixed Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Umber. That's kind of my favorite go-to dark gray color. We'll use this for the background of our mountain here. And I'm going to... I've got my really large brush here. You can maybe switch to a smaller brush if you wanted to. Might make it a little bit easier, but I'm just going to kind of use it to create sort of a rough edge here. Just laying it on the edge and just sort of wiggling it as I go down. And actually mixing with that little bit of the blue sky, which I don't mind because it'll make it look a little bit more misty. Okay. And really, you can do your mountain whatever shape you want to. You don't have to do it this shape. You could do more kind of a rolling hills if you wanted to. It'd be the same general techniques that we'll be showing you. So feel free to get creative with yours. There's this dark area right in here. I'm just going to go ahead and paint it with this dark color. Most of this we're going to actually be covering up. Most of this area up here. But we'll go ahead and put it in dark and work to the light colors. I'll grab a little bit of that ultramarine blue and do a little bit more blue on this side of the mountain. This side I went a little bit more with the brown because this is the light side. So the shadow side generally will have a little bit more blue tones in it. It's just as a general rule. I apologize if I lose my voice. For some reason, every time I get a cold, I lose my voice. It's just like...
Okay, so I can narrate.
What you should, yeah, go ahead. Go for it, please. Do.
She's using a pretty big brush, putting some dark blue on the right side there. Wiggly wiggly with the brush. Tap tap tap. Oh, they can hear the tapping, sorry. Blending, blending. Man, I could be like a sports announcer.
I like it.
She's adjusting her glasses. She's thinking about her next move.
You can't see. Oh, God.
She's going in for more blue.
Can't be like... You make me laugh.
Hey, welcome to our channel, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so glad that you're with us.
Yes.
If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Give it a thumbs up for the video. This is a 102nd video for 2017.
Woohoo.
It'll be our last.
One.
And it's been an incredible year.
It has been amazing.
It's all because of all you guys. We thank you so much for making it so fun and enjoyable for us. And it would be kind of weird if we were just sitting here talking to each other while she painted.
True.
You know, it's kind of normal when the cameras are on, but if we're just sitting around by ourselves, that would be kind of strange.
Yeah. It's a lot more fun painting with folks than doing it by myself alone in my studio, that's for sure. How I've done it for years and years and years, you know. A lot more fun having Mark along for the ride. All right, I'm going to grab some... Oh, super chat.
Disco Bell. I mean, I forgot how to do this over here. Thank you, Tim. I'm going to say Mayra, M-E-Y-R-A. Hopefully I said that correct. Thank you so much for your super chat donation.
Thank you very much. Very appreciated. All right, I've got the burnt umber and I mixed it with the green, phthalo green, and I'm just going to put that in as our background for our grass. I'm going kind of dark because some of these grasses are going to be lighter up closer to us. So most of this is going to be covered up, but we just want to put in some color underneath. There we go. And we're done. No.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. This is what you would get if I did it. Right here. Some probably not as detailed. One shade of green, one shade of blue.
This is what we call the ugly stage, where you'll get to your painting to this point and you'll think you're doing something really wrong, and that everything that you thought you were going to be doing is not right, and totally normal part of the process. It's just in the works. Got lots more to do. All right, so there's a few different ways that you could do this. And by the way, I wanted to mention I'm using my Princeton 6100 brushes for this painting. If you want links to these, they're down in my description. They are from the Brush Guys, and you use the code Angela Fine Art to get 5% off. So the price is already pretty darn good, and then with 5% off, it's the next nice little bonus discount. And also links to my Amazon page where you can find all of the other materials that I'm using today as well, the paints and the canvas or palette paper and all that. Okay, so you could use a palette knife on this, and you've probably seen how, you know, Bob Ross style, using the palette knife. I think I'm going to try with the brush, and if we decide we need to use a palette knife, we can, but you can get pretty good results with a brush. So I'm going to go ahead and try it with that first, and then we'll see if we need to add anything else. So I'm going to make a blue-gray with the Ultramarine Blue and burnt umber, and add a little bit more blue than brown. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of white, and let's just go up here and make a gray up here. Let's scoop up some of this. You notice I'm not mixing right into my puddle of paint. That's so that my paints stay as pure color as I can keep them. I pull from the side there to kind of grab paint and then pull it off to another part of my palette. All right, let's make some darker gray. This one's, I'm just gonna make multiple grays to work with, different values and some a little bit different hues. So some with a little bit more of the brown gray and a little bit more of the blue and some others. And we can even add a little bit of purple too. We'll add a little bit of purple to this one. I've got all kinds of colors on my brush here, so this one's going to be a Dioxazine Purple and Burnt Umber with a little bit of the blue colors and white. And then this one is the gray with the Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Umber and a little bit of white. Put out a little bit more. Alright, so over here I think I'm going to use this color. This is that purpley one. That's the technical color term, purpley one.
New paint color, purpley one.
Yep. How many do we have now? You can write it down? Save it?
Of course I'm writing it down.
For when we have our own line of paints, we have Dirty White, Cad Blue, purpley one.
Ungray.
Ungray is one.
And Unburnt Blue.
Unburnt Blue, right, right. Which is this background color, Unburnt Blue. Mark likes to make fun of me. Color choices. Alright, I'm just barely touching down here. I need to tilt this so I can see what I'm doing. I can't see the colors. There's this mountain that's sort of in front here. I'm going back in with some purple here. All right. Wipe off that extra. Clean out my brush. I've switched to, it's like about a 1/2 inch flat. I think it's the number 4, right? Number 4 bright, and the difference between a bright and a flat is just that the bright is shorter. This is the bright, this is the flat. You can see the difference, same number, just different length. So the brights are a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to control. That's in theory.
Theory, huh?
In theory. Okay, so I am going to load up just the tip of the brush with a little bit of paint, and I'm going to start dabbing it on here, and I'm going to make a crease down the middle of this, and I think I actually am going to use my chalk and just kind of generally mark out the difference between my two sides. This one kind of goes like that. Okay, so that there's this kind of diagonal line that's happening right down the side of the face of the mountain there. That'll just help me kind of know where to do some of this color. So I'm going to go right up on that line and just kind of barely touch the edge and the brush here and there. This is only like a shade or two lighter than this background color, so I'm going to go very, very slowly build up my lighter colors on here. I don't want to do too much too fast, or we'll just have to put some black back in. So I'm going to drag and dab, just kind of dragging and lightly dabbing. This side is our lighter side here, so we can go a little bit lighter with our colors. I'm going to add a little bit more blue on this side. And then as it gets down here, it's kind of going at a diagonal, so I'm going to follow the edge of that mountain and create some sort of diagonal lines that sort of follow this line here. Alright. Not going to look like much at first, so we're just going to kind of go slowly, like I said, and just going to build it up slowly. It's going to look a little bit different from my reference photo because I'm adding a little bit more of this side showing. So go. And I'm going to go ahead and put some of this color on here too. Now let's get that next lighter color. And we'll add a little bit of it. Now we're going to start to see it more. Be a little bit more noticeable. Just barely touching down, dabbing. Letting that dark color underneath and the canvas texture show through. So... and every now and then I'll pick up a little bit more color, and wherever I set it down it'll be a little bit brighter, and then as I paint the color will get lighter and lighter as the more paint kind of drops off my brush. So you'll get variant, I don't know, you'll get different colors. I know what word I'm looking for there. Different values.
Tanks.
Tanks. I found the perfect gift for Mark and he wouldn't let me buy it. I found a tank that was made out of metal car parts. It was awesome. He decided he didn't want it, so.
There wasn't a lot of room in the bag.
That's true.
I got something better.
Got more white here. What'd you get? Oh, he got his cookies. He found his Pepperidge Farm cookies that he...
My favorite is cookies.
That was pretty funny going through the metal detector. They made us take out all our snacks, and Mark had like 6 bags of these cookies. Shh. It was pretty funny. Okay, adding a little bit more of the lighter white down here at the bottom. Just adding a little bit more white to my brush, and just go slowly building up these layers. Make sure you're letting lots of that dark background show through. Okay. Getting more white now. We'll just keep adding more layers. I'm going to mostly work on this side, and then we'll work on the other side with our other color choices. This is going to give it a different look than using the palette knife. Use the palette knife, it's going to be a little bit more roughly textured, maybe a little bit thicker, obviously. So, you know, if you choose to do that, you just load up the very tip with the paint. I'll do a little bit with it and set it down and kind of gently kind of let it drag the paint onto the mountain. And I really do like the look of the palette knife as well, so I might do a little bit of both on this. I haven't decided yet. It's a work in progress. We'll just see how it goes. All right, I think I'm going to grab the light ultramarine blue now, and I'll use this on my shadow side of my mountain. So I'm going to start up here at the top and just kind of start setting in some of this color up here. there's a lot of the darker blue, so I'm going to grab a little bit of that ultramarine blue and purple brown mixture and do some of that over here. Actually, let's grab a little bit of the Phthalo blue too. I really want it nice and blue. There we go. Yeah. See how pretty that is? And automatically, isn't that weird? It's just the way your eye interprets color, and it's the way that, well, colors work really in nature, is that blue cast, you know, happens in shadows. It's just the way colors naturally occur. And so when we put a little bit of blue in it, it automatically, your eye goes, oh, that's shadow, without having to really even change the value much. You know, this is really pretty much the same color as it was before, but we've just changed the color just a little bit and made it a little bit more blue. And our eye will interpret it as shadow. Okay, so adding a little bit more of this lighter color.
Which brush are you using right now?
This is the number 4 bright.
Number 4 bright.
Yeah.
Not the number 4 not so bright.
Right.
I know I was supposed to be talking here for you.
Huh?
I was supposed to be narrating this.
Oh, sorry.
And I've been falling down on my job.
I know. What have you been doing?
I've been
over there?
lamenting over the...
Adding a little bit more of the darker blue here. I kind of took too much of my shadow out there. Right there. Go for it. Go for it.
Do you want to paint angry?
Do I want to paint angry? Why?
Yeah. I'll tell you what we're talking about in chat.
What are we talking about in chat? Mail?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't. Oh my God.
So happy
I
thoughts.
never wanted to curse somebody in so much my entire life.
Well, people in chat already know that you said a few cuss words.
I was almost crying at the post office. That's how bad it was. It was so bad. I couldn't believe it. The lady was like, well, we didn't call you because you canceled your P.O. box. I'm like, I didn't cancel it. I told the guy that I just wanted it forwarded to my house. And yeah, never mind. I'm not even going to start talking about it. It's making me so upset. So everybody got their mail back that sent us stuff from Christmas.
It wasn't that we didn't want to get your stuff.
It's just that
it's a mix-up at the post office.
Yep.
So, can we?
At least they didn't give my box to somebody else. That would have been worse. That would have been way worse.
It's working now.
It's working now.
We can get stuff again.
Yes. If anybody... I hate...
We don't blame you if you don't resend it.
I know.
We understand.
I mean, jeez, it's so expensive to mail something in the first place. Just to get to the post office itself is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and now I'm really PO'd because...
People are sending you snacks, aren't they?
Mona sent some chocolate.
Did it go all the way back to her?
She hasn't got it back, so maybe I need to check the postman to see if they've gained any weight.
Okay. I can't talk about it.
So, but the good side, we got a gift from the brush guys.
Yes, it did come in. Okay. Here, I need to talk about my colors here. I'm just kind of mixing around my colors here. So, all right. So I did a little bit darker blue. I added a little bit of blue in some of these shadows areas, even on this side, since, since this side is going to get shadow too. So, I'm going to grab a little bit of my blue and put some of that blue right in here. That's kind of the shadow side right there. And there's like little craggy things that are happening in the mountain, all the way up. So we can add a little bit of that, just a little bit of the blue here and there too, to this side if we want to. All right, and then I'll clean that out. I think Mona had our home address, so it should be fine. It's only the P.O. box stuff that went to the wrong. We just don't put our home address on public, you know, for obvious reasons. And I don't know. Anyhow, now I'm not going to talk about it.
See, I know I shouldn't have done that.
You shouldn't have, because I'm upset.
So on the fun side, we got to see Starry Night in person.
We did. That was amazing.
That was pretty cool.
I couldn't get very close, though. I really wanted to get up close and see the brushstrokes, but you couldn't get very close to it because there was a guy standing there that was going to hurt somebody if you did.
Yeah, and
he looked pretty angry too. So okay, grab him white here. This is pure white. Go for it. What?
I was gonna say our oldest son made the comment how he was amazed that there was like nothing between people and the painting.
Yeah.
Other than a guard.
Yeah.
And you know, just he said, you know, somebody could just run up and Falcon Punch Starry Night.
It's terrible. Don't even say that out loud. You don't want to give anybody ideas. But yeah, he's right. I mean, it is kind of, it was under glass though, wasn't it? I think.
Nope.
It wasn't?
Nope. Mm. But if people want to see some of the pictures that we took,
yes,
can go over, follow Angela on Instagram.
Yes.
She posts a bunch of pictures on there, and they also get shared to Twitter. Those links are down below.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I am here again. I'm turning it so that I'm pulling the snow along the ridges of that mountain at an angle. So this side is angled this way, so I'm kind of pulling these lines a little bit diagonal. I'm not going straight down with them. Same thing with these ones up here. I'm kind of, however that mountain is the closest edge, I'm kind of following that with my brush strokes. So as I get to the side here, I'm kind of turning it and coming this way a little bit with it. Leave lots of the background color showing still, though. Don't cover too much of it. And I'm barely touching it down. I've got very little paint on my brush. You can see how it's not even globbed on there. It's just very, very light application, and I'm kind of holding it at an angle so that I'm just skimming the paint onto the canvas. And that gives it that really the same kind of similar effect that you would get with a palette knife, where you're just kind of skimming your knife along the canvas and catching the texture of it. Okay, coming along pretty well. Let's add a little bit, just a tiny bit of this light blue to our white. And I really want it very, very white, but I just want a touch of that light ultramarine blue in it. And we'll use this on this side of the mountain. It'll be a very subtle difference, but your eye will be able to see, because it's still very light on this side in my picture. And there's this is all in shadow, and then the light doesn't catch it again until right in here. And here I'm going to go right along that edge and pull down. Grab a little bit more of that light ultramarine blue and add a little bit of it on top. And then a little bit in this area here. Actually, I'm going to mix a little bit of my ultramarine blue with my light ultramarine. Create. There we go. Gonna have a highlight color for our shadow. There you go. Get a little bit more white. And there is some of the light hitting real low down here, so I'm going to put in some of my brighter whites right here. Very, very subtle. Very light touches. Okay, and then I can go in and just kind of use the tip of my brush to create some little tiny dots in some of these areas that along that edge that kind of are catching the light. Grab a little bit more of that dark blue color, add a little bit of that in here too. Right along that transition edge. Maybe a little bit right in here. Got a little bit of brown in it there. Add a little bit of it on here. Grab a little bit of that burnt umber. Come on. A little bit of the Ultramarine Blue. There we go. Okay, I'm liking that. It's looking all right. So at this point, I'm always surprised. It's like you kind of hope it works out, and then that's the magic of painting. You just kind of never know how it's going to go. Just keep working at it until it looks right. So that's all I can tell you. Even those who've been painting for years and years and years, we all have these kind of moments of, uh-oh, you know, when we're in the middle of a painting. Like, I'm not sure about this. I think it's going to work, but we'll just have to see. And just keep on moving through that, because don't let let your eyes psych you out. You know, it's kind of this mental battle sometimes when you're painting to overcome those doubts and things. So my nice thing about tutorials is that hopefully, you know, with you can kind of see what you're gonna be able to create, and sort of hopefully trust the instructor to get you through the whole process to the end result there. You don't have to work it out yourself. All the colors and all the, you know, choices, because that's sometimes the hardest part, is just kind of figuring out all these little details. Okay, so like right in here, I think I want to make it a little bit darker, so I'm just grabbing and mixed up a little bit more of that ultramarine blue and brown, and got all of the white on my brush. So this is the darkest of the colors, and I'm gonna just go back in here and add it in a few places to really pop out the shadows in just a few places. Let me just add one last little layer of detail. This is kind of like how the, well, okay, I see where I'm at now. Let me look here. Oh, I'm working from two different angles paintings, which is, I would not recommend doing, because it's hard to tell what's actually showing where. Just kind of working on those foothills a little bit there. All right, so let's do a little bit more with this over here. I think I'm going to grab a little bit of the green, a little bit of the ultramarine blue, and some white. And I already had that brown on there. I'm just going to, a little bit more of that brown. Just going to add some highlights along this mountain here. Now that we've got our far mountain in, we can kind of do a little bit more detail in this one. There we go. Grab a little bit more of that blue, ultramarine blue, and add a little bit of blue right in here. There's kind of a shadow area right there. Okay, grab a little bit of white, and we'll add some white. Just using kind of the corner of my brush and just sort of dragging it sort of in the direction of that mountain that's sort of going this way. So creating some longer grab some brown here. Yeah, I feel like this is a little bit too white. Adding a little bit of brown on top. Tone it down a little bit. Move it over, as you can see.
Assuming.
I know. I moved it over so you could see that part because it was off camera. Or is it not? I'm only seeing part of the screen, aren't I?
No, you see it all. It is just on edge there.
Okay.
But it's okay.
All right. That's good. Just trying to get the right colors here. Just put a little bit of white in here. There's like a little pocket of snow here and here. I need some separation between those two. There we go. Grab a little bit of that gray, burnt umber, and blue mixture. Like I'm making a mess of this closer mountain.
Remind me to spray the hinge on Spencer's door.
It's so noisy. Yeah.
Yeah, so squeaky.
Squeak.
So I was telling everybody that the drippy clock painting wasn't there at MoMA.
I know. I was so sad. We didn't get to see the... I can't remember the name of the...
Dolly.
Dolly. Well, no.
No?
Yeah, it's Salvador Dali, but I
Sal
can't.
Dolly. Something about... Hold on, somebody wrote the name in here.
Something of time. Something...
Persistence of memory?
Yes, that's it.
Couldn't remember that, could you?
No, I couldn't. Okay, adding a little bit of that dark color right here. I just need a little bit of a value change between these two here. So we'll add a little bit of this darker. And don't ever feel like, you know, when you're... I mean, a painting can get overworked, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times layers are what makes a painting more special. So, you know, if you're having to go back over an area and rework it, you know, a lot of times that just adds extra character to your painting. So don't feel like you ever, you know, if you're not happy with it, you can keep kind of working at it until you are happy. A lot of times what I'll do is set my paintings down and look at them. You know, of course, I don't have the luxury of doing that while I'm doing a live show. But, you know, when I'm painting on my own, a lot of times I will paint it, get it to a point where I'm happy with it or think I'm happy with it, and then just set it out and look at it for a couple days. And usually if there's something that needs to be changed, I'll notice it. You know, sometimes when you're right in the middle of working on something, it's just really difficult to see the thing that it is that you need to change. So, all right, I'm going to stop messing with that because I think it's fine. It's good enough. I like this part. I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'm going to clean out my brush really well. A little bit more white. And just go in and do one more really bright layer. Just a couple spots. And this is where you really have to be careful because you don't want to overdo and lose all of your interesting textures and things. So just kind of pick a few spots to add a little bit extra highlights. And I'm going to even add a little bit on this side. Because some of these white bits are catching light from the other side.
I can say that anybody can do art, and there is no bad art.
Yes.
Especially after what I saw at the MoMA
I know.
museum.
I'm telling you.
There was literally a snow shovel hanging from a piece of string or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on display. It's a piece of art.
Yep.
So, no, you didn't know that your garage was a museum, art museum. Did you?
No.
But hey.
Never look at a snow shovel the same way again.
That's right. I can't use it now. It's priceless.
Very, very lightly. Just dust a little bit of color right in here. Yep. I know. That's what I love about art. It's just so subjective. And that's why I get so upset when I hear people saying, you know, that certain kinds of art is not professional art or something like that. That is so, to me, all art is valid. And if it's your expression, you know, it's your masterpiece. It's your, even if it's not exactly what you had intended to start out being, it's still an expression of you that's unique that nobody else could do. And I don't care how many paintings that I've taught and seen other people paint. Every single time it's a little bit different. You know, every time the paint catches on the canvas just a little bit differently for people. And there's always something unique about every single painting, even if they're trying to copy exactly along with my tutorials. It's never the same. And so I just want to encourage folks that are just starting out in painting. There's going to be a lot of people giving you lots of opinions about your art. This is Ultramarine Blue here I've got. And you just kind of have to know that, you know, everybody's got an opinion about what art really is to them. You know, some people will appreciate the shovel, the snow shovel hanging up on the wall, and some people won't get it. And that's with every kind of art. Doesn't matter what kind of art. Even this kind of my art. I still get, you know, people coming in and telling me that I should have done it a different way or done something different. And, you know, you got to just let it roll off your back and just kind of realize that, you know, everybody's got their own opinions. They have the right to their opinion, but it doesn't have to affect me in the way what I'm doing I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to paint what makes me happy. And if it's not considered high art or, you know, whatever to some folks, or they think I'm doing it wrong, they can, you know, they can think that if they want to, but I'm still going to keep on doing what I'm doing, and I hope you do too. I hope you don't let anybody stop you from enjoying the fun of painting just because they, you know, tell you that you're not doing it right or something like that. Just grabbing Ultramarine Blue here and adding little bits of it in my shadow areas, reinforcing some of these shadows.
Man, I even had somebody laughing at me through my whole art video that I did, but I'm still happy with it.
That's right. I know. He didn't let the doubters. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop now because I think I'm going to just... I like it. All right, so now let's get in some of our greenery. And honestly, you could just do that and be done. I mean, you don't have to do the grass if you don't want to. I'm gonna add ultramarine or burnt umber to my phthalo green here. Just make this kind of a dark, deep green color. Let me add a little bit of the phthalo blue to it also. That'll make it kind of more of a turquoisey color. And press that flat. And if you've got a small angle brush, you could use that. I'm going to go ahead and use this bright brush. It seems to be doing okay for me. Press it nice and flat. And I'm going to use it to just skim right here. And I'm just kind of setting it and doing like this back and forth. I'm not trying to draw each individual piece of grass. I'm just kind of letting that brush sort of create these little wispy lines. Don't worry about where the line starts, because we will work our way down and cover up the subsequent layers. So you just need to make sure that your brush is pressed flat. And I'm going to clean out my brush because it doesn't seem to be giving me a good enough small line. In fact, I'm going to switch into a smaller brush here. We'll get my number two flat. See if that gives me a better line. Press it nice and flat. And you can add a little bit of water to help the paint flow off your brush too, if it's not flowing off your brush. There we go. That's going to work a little bit better. And notice I'll do a couple in one direction and then kind of turn it a little bit different direction. Do a couple in the opposite direction and then turn it. So I'm kind of rotating my brush this way, side to side, so that I'm angling those grasses a little bit each time I put a new blade in. Kind of rocking my fingers side to side. This is not wanting to come off on my camera. Grab a little bit of white. Help make it more opaque. I'm going to grab some phthalo green and purple. It's like a weird combination, but it actually makes a really pretty green. Dark green. We'll try that. See if that shows up better against our mountain. a little bit more color here. Our paints are getting sticky. This winter time is brutal on painting, I swear. It's so hard to keep your paints fluid for any length of time. Clean that out. Grab a little bit of that, a little bit of the green, find a spot here, a little bit of that purple. Press my brush flat. There we go. I don't know what's happening right in here. It's a big old mess right there. Just have to put some flowers in it. And it's going down the mountain there. It's kind of getting a little bit more brown over here. So I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to my grass color. A little bit of white. You could also use a fan brush for this. A fan brush would be a good alternative. Grab a little bit of yellow, a little bit of my white, a little bit of my phthalo green. And I still have that burnt sienna in there, so it's kind of going to neutralize it a little bit, so it's not such a super bright yellow. There we go. Get some highlight colors in. Add a little water to your brush if it's not flowing off of it well for you. I'm going to go over some of these darker areas with a little bit of this color, just to define some of these grasses a little bit. And then we'll just repeat it and keep on doing it over and over again as we get farther down the mountain towards ourselves, further closer and closer. Okay. Okay, so there's our first layer. We'll grab a little bit of that darker color. And we'll do a few more. Burnt umber, phthalo green here. Just gonna keep on filling in. Excuse me, sorry. Got a tickle in my throat. Some of that phthalo green and purple, and just add a little bit of that in a few areas down in here. Add some shadows, pockets, kind of pockets of shadow in our foreground grasses. If you look at a photograph, you'll see, and this one's got kind of kind of blurry in the foreground here, but you'll see these little pockets of dark here, and that's what we're kind of going to try to replicate, is getting some of these little pockets of dark color. You don't have to do them all over, but just kind of have a few little areas of darkness. little bit of the yellow and phthalo green. Put some bright grasses. Really the idea with the grasses is that you always want to kind of hide where they start, because the next layer of grass is always going to be kind of right in front, so you're never kind of seeing where it's attaching to the ground unless it's at the very closest up to you and you do see the ground around it. But most of the time you're just going to be seeing layers of grasses on layers of grasses as you go back. So you're going to want to cover up wherever this grass is attaching to your canvas. So all of these places up here, I just want to kind of come up over them just a little bit. It doesn't have to come up as high, obviously, but I just want to cover up where those ends of the grasses start so that it looks like they're farther away. Because if we see where they're attaching to the ground, then it kind of messes up our perspective a little bit, and it makes it look like we can see the ground itself, which we can't in this case. Does that make sense, hopefully?
Sure. For those who are listening.
Hopefully you can understand me. My sniffles. Okay, so, and really it helps if you just kind of change up the color just a little bit, even if it's the same color in your photograph. You know, there's always going to be pockets of shadow and things happening in your grasses. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to my Ultramarine Blue. That'll give me a kind of an olive green color. Give us a little bit different tone. I want at least 3 to 4 levels of brightness in our grasses. With some really dark and a couple medium tones, and then a really bright. And then our colors we can play with as well, but they're not as important as getting that light and dark value. And you really could make these grasses pink if you wanted to, and it would still work if you got the values correct. So it's all about kind of getting these really dark areas and then some really light areas in there. We still haven't put our very light areas in yet because we're still kind of laying the groundwork for them. Just putting in our medium and dark values right now. Some of these grasses are kind of bent over themselves and kind of poking in weird directions too. So they don't all have to go perfectly straight. They can kind of curve a little bit or kind of be bent over. Adding layers and layers and layers. With my dark areas, I'm going to go kind of around them, a little bit over the top, but try to leave a little bit of those darker pockets. Don't cover them up completely. But you can kind of cover up where they attach the ground. It's amazing. Little bits of paint, just working our way down. Starting to look like a grass. It's funny, I did a video, I think it was last year, when we did the the church with the snowy church with the pine trees. And I still get comments because I must have had a cold when I did it. And every now and then I'll still get a comment, someone saying, I hope you feel better or something. It's like, so if you're watching this anytime after 2017 December, I'm probably better by now, hopefully. Thank you.
Man, I hope so.
Pretty sure I'm over my cold by now. It's so sweet. It's been a while since I've been sick too, which is kind of good. We went almost all year without having any major problems, so I was overdue for a cold, I guess.
There was just a lot of sick people in
the
city.
Yep, a lot of people coughing, and
we tried hard.
We tried. I mean, we had baby wipes or those, antibacterial wipes. Tried to wipe my hand every time I touched anything, but you just never know. Somebody who one of the restaurant workers could have been sick when they handed us our plate. There's no telling. No telling. But it's all right. All right, just adding little bits. And this is does this sort of, I don't know, goes up and down too, kind of helps. Give it. I love it, it's so cute. It's getting there. This is the part where I start getting excited. Like, yes.
Here comes the flowers. Yes.
What?
Here comes flowers.
I know.
Yes.
My favorite part. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of brown down in here. There's some brown. Grab some burnt umber, a little bit of white. Just add a few patches of brown. I'm just going to kind of actually put them in like they're grasses, because that's kind of how we would see them, in between the grasses. All right, now I'm going to grab some bright yellow and white. Mix that in, and we're going to put in some really bright grasses. This is where you always kind of want to go much lighter with your highlight colors. Your medium value will have the most. Your darker value and your lighter values will have usually the least. But the lightest is really going to be very, very selective. So don't overdo your super bright value. But you need it in there, though. You do need it. Just trying to pick little grass tufts here that I'm kind of adding in here and there, changing the directions. Some of them pointing this way, some of them pointing this way, some of them pointing straight up. Always kind of turning my brush side to side so that they're not all going in the same direction. That's what'll make it look a little bit. If you have anytime you're painting anything in nature, really, if you have everything too uniform, too perfectly aligned, too perfectly clean, it's just gonna make it look a little bit less realistic, which is a style that you can choose to do. So, I'm saying that that's not the style I'm trying to go for, but if that's the style you want to go for, that is the definite style. There's some people who have created their own whole art careers out of painting things that are Andy Warhol, pop art, things that are not realistic looking. So this is just my, if you want it to get to look like more like mine, that's what we're talking about here. All right, I think we're good with our grasses. Let's add some flowers, and we'll probably add a little bit of grass on top at the very end. And clean that out really well, and I think I'm going to keep this brush because it's working pretty well for me. And we're going to use purple, some white, mix of a light purple color. I'm going to add a little bit of add a little phthalo blue to it, give it a little bit more of a violet tone. And then over here I'm going to just add some little dots, like farther away, just a few little dabs. And then as we get down toward the bottom, there's going to be bigger ones, so I'm going to create some bigger flowers that are sitting up in here. And right now I'm just going to kind of create the base for them. We'll put some highlight colors on top. But I'm keeping them fairly smushed. So the shapes are going to be kind of like triangular almost. Because we're seeing them from the side. We're not seeing the full front of the flower facing us. Some of these are a little bit turned towards us. They look like they're little violets. So we're just going to try to get them as close as we can without putting too much detail into them. Because we're really not seeing a lot of detail in these pictures. So, and then far away here, there's some little ones. We can put some little tiny dabs. I'm trying to kind of pick a spot in between some of my grasses to try to get some of these little ones that look a little farther away. And then, let's do one real close up here. A little bit bigger. And then I'm going to grab the blue. And there's a few little blue flowers. Add a little bit of white. There's some little blue flowers in here. And they're kind of following in lines almost. The picture that I have, they're kind of doing these kind of lines down the mountain to kind of helps create this movement, I guess. All right, let's add some yellow. If I can get some that's not all sticky. The paint is starting to dry. What?
Is it misbehaving?
It is misbehaving.
You haven't been spritzing it much.
No, I haven't. I need to do that. Thank you. Been too busy having fun painting grasses. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of burnt sienna here, and that creates a kind of a peachy yellow color. It's a good color for underneath our base color for our yellow. So I'm going to add some of those. And I'm just dabbing with the tip of my brush, just adding little hints of color. There's a little bit of yellow in these purple ones too, so we can add a little bit of yellow to just a few of these. Centers, and then add add some big. This is very similar to my painting that I did with the owl, the large buttercups, the field of buttercups that the owl was sitting in. All right, that's good. Okay. I'm just using the edge of my brush and creating these little shapes for my flowers. Let's clean that out. I added a few more, you know, because I had to fill it. We had space. We might as well put some flowers in there, right? All right, and grab some white and add a little bit of that purple to it. Just a little. We want this to be quite a bit wider. And we're going to kind of pull from the center up. Create some little highlights in our flowers there. I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm just kind of keeping that lighter color kind of right in the centers of these. Just going over the top of what I've already put in there. And add a little highlight to my little dots too. Some of them. Grab a little bit of that darker purple. Add a little bit of the blue. Phthalo blue. Yeah, it's getting green in it. I don't want that to happen. Just create a little bit of a darker shadow. Just a few of these. So let's go right up underneath and create like a dark shadow underneath some of these. Okay. Let's grab some white and add it to that blue. Add some bright highlights to our blue flowers. These are kind of like asters, so I'm kind of giving them a little more defined petals. Slightly. Okay. And then our yellow. Grab some cadmium yellow and some white. I'm just going to pick some spots and create these little 1, 2, 3. These outside ones I'm kind of curving inward a little bit. You're just seeing the parts that are catching the light, so leave a little bit of that darker color showing here and there. I'm going to add a few little bits of yellow. I need some fresh. Almost done. Didn't need the Quinacridone Magenta as it turned out, although I might add just a few little flowers with it. I think I'd like to have a little bit of it in here, so even though it's not in my picture, I think I'm going to add just a little bit of suggestion of it. All right, so we're using the straight cadmium yellow now. Go over the top of the white light highlight areas and a couple places. Having that lighter color down first will just kind of help this part show up a little bit better. So having the white underneath helps your yellow to show up and make it brighter. Right, yeah, that's really popping off the canvas now. Let's use a little bit of that in the centers of some of these flowers now to pop those out. Brighten those up. I really like how this is turning out. It's very pretty. All right, there's one large yellow one up here. Kind of far away. Add a little bit of the brighter color on it. Look at your photographs too, because I mean, these shapes are very, undefined. There's, so that's kind of what I'm looking at when I'm creating these. I'm not trying to make them look like flowers. And your brain will tell you that's not a flower, because that is not a flower shape, but your eye will interpret it when you look, we step back a little bit from it and give it some space. Your eye will be able to discern that it's a flower. But when you get right up in here and you're painting it, it can be hard not to make the flower have exactly, all the petals facing you and stuff, because your brain's going to be telling you, no, that doesn't look right. So it's just a, just a bit of a struggle with your internal dialogue sometimes to get yourself to loosen up a little bit and just kind of paint what you're seeing and not what you think you should be painting, if that makes sense. Okay, adding a little bit of blue here. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to some of these purple flowers. Super chat. Hey.
This one goes out to Lady Fair.
Thank you, lady.
It says, "This is beautiful and lifting my spirits today.
Oh.
Happy New Year."
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes. Happy New Year and thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. We hope you guys all have a good New Year. If you're going somewhere, be safe.
I think we need to turn off the rest of the lights in the studio when the disco ball comes on, so you can see the effect.
A little bit of lighter color here. This is the lighter purple. You can turn that off at any time. Thank you. You can see what I'm doing.
Guess you don't feel the same, huh?
No, I like it. It's just...
Get some strobe lights and disco ball.
Just adding a little bit of highlights here. Let me catch the brightness. Oh, it's so cute. All right, let's add a little bit of the pink. Just a little tiny bit. I'm going to add it with, I've got purple in my brush still. I'm going to grab a little bit of white. And I really think I'm just going to kind of make little dabs. It's not even going to be defined as a flower. It's just going to be these little kind of tiny dots of pink here and there. Being like, what is that? But I think it'll add, because we've got, the quinacridone is very similar to, well, you can mix a color similar to Dioxazine Purple using quinacridone. So it's technically in our painting already. So adding it is not going to be a, you know, mess with our color scheme. We can add it in and it won't look like it's out of place. If that makes sense. It'll keep our painting unified. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit of this to our burnt sienna here. And a little bit of yellow. And put a little bit in the centers of our yellow flowers. Just a little dusting of it on some of them. And it's kind of up from center, so it's not, we're not seeing all of it, if that makes sense. Just a little bit. All right, go ahead and zoom out a little bit there, hon. I think we're just about done. Very nice. All right, I like it. Hope you guys enjoyed this today. I really appreciate you and all your support this year. It's been just a wonderful year, and we're really looking forward to more fun stuff, doing more fun stuff, paintings for you in 2018. Hope you guys have a great New Year's. And if you are interested in the traceable for this, I have it on Patreon for $1 a month. You can get all the traceables that I've done since February 2017 are on there. So, and we'll keep on going next year with them too. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff planned for next year for you. And I think that's it. I'm going to say...
Like,
subscribe. Yeah, all that good stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not, my head is a little cloudy today.
That's all right.
With pain.
You've been hitting the green tea a little heavy, so we'll forgive you.
Thanks. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.